6 p.m. in the council chambers of City Hall for clarification of the agenda. The following is an official agenda of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Discussion and commission action will be limited to those items on the agenda. Any citizen who wishes to address the commission shall first be recognized by the chair and shall give his or her name for the record. If a citizen wishes to read documentation of any sort to the commission, he or she shall first seek permission from the chair. There's a 3-minute time limit for public testimony to the commission. With that, we'll move to agenda item number 1, which is roll call. Aislinn, will you call the roll?
Here, and I viewed both sites and have nothing to report or disclose.
I'm here, and I made site visits to agenda items number 4 and 5.
Here, nothing to disclose.
Present, I was able to make site visits to agenda items number 4 and 5, and I have nothing to disclose. I have a note on here asking me to ask everyone to please silent your cell phones. We'll move on to agenda item number 2, which is approval of the meetings.
Minutes.
Is there any discussion by the commission on the July 17th meetings, our last meetings, minutes? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the minutes for the Planning and Zoning meeting for July 17, 2024, as presented.
I'll second.
We've got a motion made by Hewlett and a second by Guyer. Marjana, would you call the vote, please? Or
Aislinn.
Aislinn, I'm sorry.
I was to say, I'm not supposed
My
to, but
first
sure.
time. Aislinn, would you call the vote, please?
Yes,
Yes.
Here,
Yes or no?
yes, you have to vote yes
Oh.
or no.
yes.
Yes. Great. Okay, we will move on to agenda item number 3, which is to elect the Planning and Zoning Chair and Vice Chair. The commission may wish to appoint a new chair and vice chair through term ending October 31st, 2025.
I move that we appoint, will you take motion? Chair?
Sure.
I move that we appoint, who do we decide? You for chair and Adam for vice chair.
Great. We've got, oh, sorry.
I nominate you, I guess. I'm supposed to nominate you.
All right, I'll second.
Okay, we've had a motion made by Hewlett and a second by Guyer. Aislinn, would you call the vote, please?
Yes.
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 Congratulations.
Just what you wanted.
Couldn't have happened to nicer guys.
Okay. We'll move to agenda item number 4. The time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a zone map and future land use amendment application request by Gate City Builders, represented by Sunrise Engineering, to rezone the property located at 2806 South 5th Avenue from commercial general to residential commercial professional and change the comprehensive plan designation from commercial to mixed use. I'll briefly explain the public hearing procedures. The application presentation is limited to 10 minutes. There is a 3-minute limit on public testimony. Those presenting or testifying will state your name for the record. While giving testimony, questions and comments should be pertinent to the application and should be addressed only to the commission. During the public hearing, there should be no questions, comments, or applause from the audience. Should the meeting go longer than 8 p.m., the commission may take a scheduled 10-minute break. Commission members must make their decision regarding the application on facts already in the record and information presented during the public hearing. Protocol requires the commission members and audience be recognized by the commission chair prior to speaking. I've already read the agenda description, and so with that, I declare the public hearing open. I would like to invite the applicant to come to the podium.
No applicant?
No applicant. With no applicant here to make a presentation, we will,
Presentation by staff.
what's that?
Sorry,
We'll invite staff to come forward.
I was just mumbling.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. Jim Anglesey, Long Range Planner for the City of Pocatello. The request before you is a map amendment for a property located at 2806 South Fifth to change the designation of the future land use map from commercial to mixed use and to rezone the subject property from commercial general to residential commercial professional. The subject property is approximately 5.46 acres and is currently developed with an abandoned house. The RCP zoning district would allow for a flexibility of residential and commercial uses to be incorporated into a single property, hence the mixed-use designation. High-density residential and limited commercial uses are permitted in the RCP zone. The area surrounding the subject property is experiencing renewed development interests, with the area transitioning from industrial to commercial and residential. The general area has also recently been included as a brownfields redevelopment study area. And other developments in the area include the construction of a senior apartment building, a large townhome development along the rail line, multifamily developments along Second as well as Barton Road, and the construction of the Maverick gas station near the freeway interchange. A change to a mixed-use designation and subsequent rezone to RCP would be fitting to allow for a variety of uses in an area experiencing these changes in development. Notification for this public hearing has met all city and state requirements, and staff has received no written comments regarding this request. In consideration of the application, staff concludes that the proposed zoning and future land use map amendments are compliant with Pocatello City Code, Section 1702-170C and 1702-170E. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
So the site consists of 4 parcels. Where are the 4 parcels at?
So you have them here, here.
Okay, those
here,
are
and
separate.
here.
Okay, that
Yep.
line is separating them. Okay.
Yep.
That line, this is a weird question, it's not really pertinent, but I'm just curious, that line cuts through several properties. What is that line?
That's from original meets and bounds.
That's from forever ago. Okay. All right. So basically, they just want to open this up to RCP to allow for residential housing if they choose to develop that way. Okay, great.
Under that, they would still would be allowed any commercial
Yep.
development as well.
Continue to use it. Okay, great. Does anyone have any questions for staff?
No.
I don't.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jim. Okay, before starting public testimony, I would like to remind each person that when you come to the podium, you must state your name. Please remember to only address the commission, not the audience or the applicant. You have 3 minutes to testify and will be asked to stop when your time runs out. Keep questions and comments pertinent to the application. Do not duplicate questions, concerns, or comments covered by previous testimony heard today. I'd like to invite anyone providing testimony in support of the application to come forward. I'd like to invite anyone providing testimony uncommitted to the application to come forward. I'd like to invite anyone providing testimony opposing the application to come forward. Okay, no one's here to give a rebuttal, so we'll skip that. With that, I will close the public hearing. How does the commission wish to proceed?
I would like to make a motion, if you'll accept one.
Yes.
I move to recommend approval of the zoning and future land use map amendment application from Gate City Builders to change the designation of the subject property on the city's future land use map from commercial to mixed use, and to rezone the subject property from commercial general to residential commercial professional RCP, finding the application does meet the standards for approval under applicable sections of the city code, and with the conditions listed in the staff report, and authorize the chair to sign the findings of fact and recommendations.
I'll second.
We've had a motion by Commissioner Hewlett and a second by Commissioner Dyer. Aislinn, will you call the vote, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Great. Okay, we will move on to agenda item number 5. I will open the public hearing, and I would like to invite the applicant to come forward to the podium.
Members of the commission, Stuart Ward with Dioptra, 4880 Cloverdale in Chubbuck, representing the applicant. This is a request for a zone change and comp plan amendment for approximately 0.23 acre parcel located at 906 East Elm. Can I mess with this and get to it? Currently, it is zoned residential medium density, and that's what all the properties to the north, east and west are. South is zoned mixed use. This is this property currently has a duplex on it. The applicant would like to change it to residential commercial professional with a mixed use designation for future improvements of that property. The Jefferson corridor has, even outside of the mixed use zone, has a mix of uses with single family homes and commercial and some fourplex or multifamily home developments on it, and we believe that this change just makes this property conducive with everything else along that corridor. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for the applicant?
No.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, Jim?
Jim Anglesey, Long Range Planner for the city. As stated previously, this property located at 906 East Elm is proposed to be changed, the designation on the future land use map, from residential to mixed use, and to rezone it from residential medium density single family to residential commercial professional. The RCP zoning district would allow for a flexibility of residential and commercial uses to be incorporated into a single property, hence the mixed use designation. High-density residential and limited commercial uses are permitted in the RCP zone. The Jefferson corridor includes a variety of residential densities and commercial uses, which lends itself to a mixed-use corridor. The comprehensive plan calls for increased density in key neighborhood centers, and that each neighborhood should provide a flexibility of housing options. The plan states, Strategy A, create development standards that allow for neighborhood centers to provide safe and convenient access to daily goods, services, and to neighborhoods. B, adopt incentives that encourage mixed-use development and upper-story housing in key neighborhood centers and commercial cores where residents can live, work, and play in or near their own neighborhoods. And C, adopt incentives that encourage the development of affordable, missing middle, intergenerational, and mixed-income housing, especially where key community services and transit options already exist. Notification for this public hearing has met all city and state requirements, and staff has received no written comments regarding this request. In consideration of the application, staff concludes that the proposed zoning and future land use map amendments are compliant with Pocatello City Code. And this ends my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
We went over this a little bit in the commission, or in the clarification meeting, but I just want to verify that basically there's an existing home on the property. It's currently a duplex. Sounds like they want to go to a triplex, and so we need to change the zoning to allow that.
I understand that to be the intent from the applicant, but they would be permitted to do commercial and RCP or high-density residential as well.
I have a question for you. So if this goes from, if we change the zoning, and they make this a triplex, that's no longer grandfathered in for setbacks that would have been required for residential. It would be a different use, so it'd have to meet the setback and parking requirements for a new use, right?
So it would be considered multifamily. Right now, it would be a
It's
duplex.
A duplex,
Which, say, for example, parking would require 2 parking stalls per unit.
okay?
Under a multifamily situation, it's based off the amount of bedrooms in each unit.
Okay,
And so if there's 3 or more bedrooms in one unit, it would require 2 parking stalls. Anything less than that, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, it requires less.
okay. So, but it's similar to if this house was turned into a commercial venture, then they would have to meet commercial
Commercial parking,
requirements.
yeah.
And it's the same thing here. So same thing with the setbacks next to the neighbors, which is still residential. They
Yep.
would have to meet those setbacks as well,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, if it's purely residential, it falls underneath the residential high density setback requirements.
But since this is going to, this is a rezone, it's going to have to meet those different standards, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim. Any other questions for staff?
No.
Thank you. Okay, just quickly go through these one more time. Please state your name when you come to the podium. Please remember to address the commission. You have 3 minutes to testify. Please keep questions and comments pertinent to the application. I'd like to invite anyone providing testimony in support of the application to come forward. Anyone providing testimony uncommitted to the application? Anyone providing testimony opposing the application? Stuart, do you have a rebuttal to any of that?
No, I would like to clarify one thing though. if I
Please.
can. Do I need to state my name again? Okay. So the proposed use is we called it a triplex, but the current building is a duplex. The third unit would be disconnected from that. So it's not, there will be 3 different units on that property, but it's not going to be combined into one building, if that clarifies anything for you. But parking and setbacks and everything, we still have to comply with whatever zone or buffer requirements are
Okay.
required.
That was my bigger concern. I've looked at the size of the property, and I didn't know if you're gonna, it doesn't really matter if you're gonna build another property or not, because it's a zoning request, and then whatever is allowed under the zoning request is allowed. So I just wanted to clarify, if it was still residential, if it would have to meet the new setbacks and parking requirements that we require for things in this zoning, because it would kind of change its use.
Right, and my understanding is the current use would remain the same if the zone change was to happen and nothing else was to change on the property,
Then
it would be
remain the same.
grandfathered in, but any
Since-
new
yeah.
uses would be required to meet the
Okay.
new zoning
The new
code.
part. So does that mean that only the new apartment would have to have the different parking and setback standards? The new building? That's a question for staff, sorry. But,
Proposed yet. They gotta propose.
So that's all I wanted to clarify.
Okay.
So,
Thank
thank you.
so if the house remains a duplex, then it doesn't have any changes to parking or setbacks. But if the property has been changed, it's no longer residential, then it has different setbacks. The zoning requires that.
Under the RCP standards, if the property is all residential, it reverts to residential high-density setback standards.
Okay,
So it'd still be under a residential standards.
okay,
Once they add a commercial component, then commercial standards would also apply.
if they would. So what if they add another building on there? I mean, if they're going to put another building on the property, then what are the parking and setback standards for that?
Commercial parking standards are based off of square footage.
Okay, but it sounds like if it's residential, then they still get to abide by just residential standards.
Right.
Okay.
Any other
Let
questions?
them figure it out.
Okay, with that, I declare the public hearing closed. How does the commission wish to proceed? Discussion, a motion?
I would like to make a motion. I move to recommend approval of the zoning map amendment application from PERM Properties LLC to change the designation of the subject property on the city's future land use map from residential to mixed use, and to rezone the subject property from residential medium-density single-family to residential commercial professional, RCP, finding the application does meet the standards for approval under the appropriate sections of Pocatello City Code with the conditions listed in the staff report, and authorize the chair to sign the findings of fact and recommendation. I don't want to read those numbers.
All right, I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion made by Commissioner Hewlett and a second by
I
Commissioner
second it.
Guyer.
Who seconded it
Asa, would you
already?
call the vote, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Great.
That's it. Good evening.
With that, we'll close the meeting.
I'll stop working.